If I took those tariffs on, sir, I can't believe you're doing this for us. You saved our company.
Tariffs usually get a bad rap, but in the US auto industry, they might be the unexpected heroes of the story. After years of losing ground to foreign competition and tough economic times, tariffs are helping the American car industry fight back and protect jobs. Could something as simple as a tax on imports really save an entire industry? The twists, the numbers, and the surprising outcomes might just blow your mind. So grab your keys. We're taking a ride through the untold story of how tariffs shook things up for American cars. Oh, and before we start, don't forget to like this video, hit subscribe, and ring that notification bell. Welcome to FinaVault, your vault of finance insights. So, you think tariffs are some snooze fest of economics? Nope, not when Donald Trump's around. He's about to shake things up with his go-to move. Big, honkin' tariffs. His latest idea? A 25% wallop on stuff coming from Mexico and Canada, and a 10% hit on Chinese goods. The official line is it's all about keeping jobs here in the US, but there's more to it than that. Here's the crazy part. Goldman Sachs thinks these tariffs could bring in a cool $300 billion a year. That's serious cash. Trump's thinking that money will boost the economy and give American factories a leg up. But hold your horses, because the smart folks are saying we, the regular people, might be the ones paying for it. We could be looking at an extra $2,600 a year for groceries and stuff, because imported things will cost more. Still, Trump's not sweating it. He thinks these tariffs will get foreign companies to set up shop here. His logic? Why pay the extra tax when you can build it here? Of course, some people are saying it's not that easy. The way things are made is a global puzzle. But Trump's plan, as bold as it is, has definitely got everyone talking. Okay, so how American are American cars, really? Turns out, not as much as you might think. Even the most Stars and Stripes rides can't hit more than 75% made in the USA stuff. That's because of some trade rules that count Canadian parts as American. So, from the tiny bolts to the brainy computer chips, a lot of the important bits are actually coming from overseas. Now, here's where things get a little sticky. If we start slapping tariffs on all those imported parts, car prices could go through the roof. Think about it. A shipment of those foreign-made chips or bolts suddenly costs more, so the car companies either have to eat that cost or make us, the buyers, pay for it. Either way, it's going to hurt our wallets. But hold on a sec, there's a plot twist. What if these tariffs actually get us moving? Could they finally push the US to start making more of these important parts here at home? For now, that's the big question hanging in the air, like a cliffhanger that needs an answer. Let's take a trip back to the not-so-fun days of 2007 to 2008. The big recession hit and the car business went into a tailspin. GM had a record-breaking loss of $39 billion in 2007. Then, Chrysler and GM both went bankrupt, which meant a lot of folks lost their jobs. Then, the government stepped in with a $63.5 billion bailout called TARP. Some people thought it was a lifesaver. Others said it was a temporary fix. But either way, it did the trick. By 2011, GM made a huge $7.6 billion profit, which was the most they'd ever made. Chrysler also made a profit of $183 million that same year, which was their first since the crash. The crazy part? They didn't just survive, they actually bounced back. Both companies paid back their loans early with interest. It's a comeback story that's better than anything you'd see in a movie. All right, here's a twist. The US car biz hasn't always had a smooth ride. Remember the 1970s oil crisis? That's when Japanese cars came zooming in. Brands like Toyota and Datsun, now Nissan, showed up with fuel-sipping cars, leaving those big American gas guzzlers in the dust. So what did the big three, Ford, GM, and Chrysler, do? They fought back with smaller, more efficient cars. GM even started a whole new brand, Saturn, to compete. Honda opened a factory here in the US, and Toyota launched the fancy Lexus brand. But it wasn't all about saving gas. Japanese and European car companies were killing it with design and engineering, setting new standards that made American companies either step up their game or get left behind. Now, let's jump to Trump's tariffs. Could these big taxes on imports be the car industry's new secret weapon? History says it's possible. Remember those 1,800 jobs that popped up in appliance making during Trump's first term? What if that same thing happened across the whole car industry? But here's the tricky part. Tariffs are like a double-edged sword. Sure, they could help us make more stuff here, but they also make things more expensive for companies that use imported parts. The Federal Reserve found that while Trump's tariffs did make prices go up, they didn't really create a ton of new factory jobs overall. Still, the idea of tariffs protecting American jobs is tempting. Will they push us to innovate, or will they slow everything down? It might all depend on whether the Big Three can adapt faster than their competitors. Cars don't just roll off the assembly line by themselves. They bring a bunch of other industries along for the ride. Think about insurance, advertising, and car repairs. Tariffs could shake up these areas too, creating some winners and losers you might not expect. Take insurance, for example. More cars mean more policies, which means more money for insurance companies. Then there's advertising, all those flashy ads that make you want a new car. Tariffs could change how companies market their cars, especially if they start focusing on being made in America. But the biggest question mark? The oil business. Tariffs might indirectly affect gas prices, especially if they mess with supply chains. It's a domino effect that could either help things grow or cause a big mess. The US car industry has always been a place of big ideas. Think about it. Ford's Model T changed how cars were made, and by 1927, they were cranking out a car every 24 seconds. Later on, after World War II, we saw things like automatic transmissions and power steering. But new ideas aren't always enough. In 1935, the United Auto Workers Union was formed, which led to better pay and benefits, but also more costs for car companies. Strikes and pension costs became a regular headache. Even with all that, the industry kept changing. By the 1950s, American car companies were on top of the world. Then came the 1970s and everything changed. Foreign brands forced the Big Three to adapt, proving that being able to bounce back is just as important as having new ideas. Get this. The US car industry was worth a massive $1.51 trillion in 2022, and it's expected to hit $2.064 trillion by 2032. What's making it grow so fast? Well, there's a big demand for commercial vehicles thanks to the booming transportation biz. But here's the thing. Even though US car companies are still big players, the competition is tougher than ever. Ford and GM are ranked third and fourth worldwide by how much money they make, behind Volkswagen and Toyota. Meanwhile, Chrysler has changed a lot under Stellantis, which is what happened after Fiat bought them in 2014, and then they merged in 2021. With cars going to 206 countries and a $97 billion export value in 2022, the US car industry isn't just surviving, it's actually doing pretty well. But the road ahead isn't going to be easy. Tariffs, new tech, and global competition will shape the future in ways we can only guess at right now. Jobs, money, and taxes. Let's get down to the nitty-gritty. The US car industry supports 3.7 million jobs, directly and indirectly. That's not just people on the assembly line. It's engineers, designers, suppliers, and a whole lot more. Together, they add $450 billion to the GDP every year. And the tax money? A whopping $280 billion goes to federal, state, and local governments each year. It just goes to show that the car industry isn't just about cars, it's a huge part of our economy. But here's the kicker. Tariffs could either make these numbers even bigger or put them at risk. It's a big gamble, and everyone, from the car companies to us, the buyers, has something at stake. Detroit, which was once the heart of American car making, had some tough times. But the city's story is a lot like the industry's story. It's all about bouncing back. By 2012, the big three, GM, Ford, and Chrysler, were back on top, making big profits and taking back their spot as global leaders. What was their secret? Government help, unions giving a little, and a new focus on innovation. GM's $7.6 billion profit in 2011 showed that the industry could come back from anything, and Chrysler's turnaround under Fiat showed that working together could be a way to survive. Today, Detroit is a symbol of reinvention, proving that even when things get tough, the car industry and the city it calls home can find a way forward. So, that's the story of how tariffs became a big deal in the American car industry. It's not just about taxes, it's about surviving, adapting, and always trying to come up with something new. It's a wild ride, and we're all along for it. Do you think tariffs are the key to saving American auto jobs? Or are they just making things more expensive for everyone? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. And that's it for today. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe to FinaVault. Stay tuned for more stories that keep you thinking, and we'll catch you next time.